Hey yo, what's going down? I'm OD and this is Slump Sessions, the show that is music. We got CouchLoaf Records in the building. How y'all doing today?
Swell.
Swell?
Swell.
You doing good?
Yeah.
Why don't y'all go ahead and introduce yourselves, let everybody know who you are.
You go.
My name is Kal.Kal. I'm a producer and a person who produces, but not produce, not grocery store produce.
He's a produce
Beats.
manager.
I'm a produce manager.
My name's Jose. I used to go under Star Collector, but I changed my name to DRGuava for pronunciations purposes.
Yeah.
And then I make music and I work on visual arts too, like projections. And I started CouchLoaf Records, but Evan definitely he's gone to a point where like he definitely helps me with a lot of with doing it a lot.
I stand at the top of buildings and yell out, "Go like CouchLoaf Records" on Facebook, and I think that's really helped our reach.
I think so. I mean, that's a good promotion tactic.
Really?
Yeah. That's actually, I'm going to try that. Next time you go stand on buildings, I'll be there.
People
tight.
sometimes
They
yell
could afford
jumper. Jumper. Don't do it, but
Do a flip.
I'm like, no, do it. Go like CouchLoaf Records on Facebook.
So my first question was kind of like the name, because you had announced that you were going to change it.
Oh yeah, you saw that.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
mean, just for pronunciation purposes, how did you even come up with Star Collector, but
Man, it
spelled
was on
that
the
way?
rush. Oh well, honestly, I think I would call it biting, because I would see Mind Design and a bunch of lo-fi art, a bunch of artists in general do it a lot. I really like Mind Design though, and thanks for giving me that idea. But that's why after a while I was like, okay, one, I know that's not original, so I don't even feel good about saying it.
Yeah.
I didn't feel authentic. And then two, a lot of people would pronounce it differently, or I would get hey, how do you see that? And I've gotten it over 100 times. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna change it. Something sounds so it sounds good and it's easy to say. Then that's what I did.
Okay. What about you? How did you come up with Kal.Kal?
Well, Kal is both yesterday and tomorrow in Hindu.
Okay.
I'm not Hindu, so I'm biting. I'm biting. It's cultural appropriation. But it means it's a weird word because it means both yesterday and tomorrow. And originally it was just Kal, but there's another dude online that I found in a lo-fi group, and his name, because my real name is Evan and my last initial is M, his name was also Evan M, and he also went under the name Kal.
Wow.
So I was like, damn, this is some Inception stuff.
It's ironic.
So I changed it to Tunes by Kal, and then I was like, that sounds so weird whenever someone says produced by Tunes by Kal.
Yeah, that does.
And I was like, fuck it, Kal.Kal. Yesterday tomorrow, tomorrow.yesterday. It's all, every day is the same.
I like it. So you said you started up CouchLoaf Records. How did you even come up with that? How did you even come up with the name CouchLoaf Records?
What do you mean with the name?
Yeah,
I don't know. I was at Jack in the Box.
just a random kind of thought.
Like how most stories start.
I need a damn name. What do I come up with? That's probably thought about for 3 days. So I was at Jack in the Box. I was like, all right, this one sounds good. CouchLoaf. And it sounded stupid at first. I kept saying it, and it worked out. I mean, clearly,
Yeah.
I think it really fits perfect for the kind of music that most of us, in it do.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you link up with Kal, and how did y'all actually go about with bringing him aboard to help you out?
Did you find me on the internet, or did I find you?
Somehow I was following you on Instagram, and then I saw the flyer for one of y'all shows, and I was like, I noticed that it was in Houston, and I was like, damn, y'all are in Houston? And so I didn't go to that show that you invited me to. and then I think you invited me to play a La Sopa. I added you on Facebook. You told me to add you on Facebook.
We did your show first.
No, didn't I play a La Sopa first?
Oh, probably.
Yeah, I played a La Sopa first. Avant Garden does these things every month. They're called
every
La Sopa.
third Friday of the month.
Okay.
They do this thing called La Sopa, and it's pretty cool. Check it out.
Yeah.
If you want.
At Avant
It's up to you.
I'll check it out.
But it's cool. And they do all kinds of things. But
oh man, anyway, so you told me to add you on Facebook for the address, so I added you, and then you invited me to play a La Sopa because we were talking a little bit, and then I invited you to play my album release show, and then I just did more CouchLoaf shit, and he was like, "Fuck it, I'm in CouchLoaf.
Yeah, and it worked
I'm a
out.
CouchLoaf.
You're at CouchLoaf now.
I always was.
Damn.
Since I was
That's
little,
cool.
I was propped up on a couch.
So is it just y'all two, or is there more?
There's a bunch of other people.
Okay.
We got Steven. I mean, I don't know. I that's like pretty like. I would say, I don't really consider anyone as a member. Like, I consider everyone as a member right now. Like, everyone that's played or like helped in any way, only because, like, I'm not paying anyone like on a
Yeah.
payroll.
Yeah.
So like, why even like create that like dynamic? You know,
Yeah.
like I rather like if you've helped, cool. Like you're a part of it. If not, then whatever.
It's
like,
more of a community than a
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
than
Okay.
a label
Yeah,
or collective.
until it's like, oh cool, like we have
We'll sign
like
somebody.
$20,000. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll figure out how that happens, like in the
I'll-
future for
I'll,
sure.
I'll write it off. I'll put it on my taxes once I get paid. That's pretty much the when I'll
But,
be part of, officially part.
But there's a bunch of people. There's Steven, and he's kind of like a representative. Like whenever I go, like he knows a bunch of artists, always talk about it. Or like whenever we're at a bar or something, like we meet up, we talk about music. Virgil's pretty cool about it. He's really good about like just like keeping me level-headed. I mean, besides like music, like so like there's artists and there's visual artists, and then like I guess within those roles too, like everyone kind of plays their part, you know. Like Evan's really good about like promotion
Yelling
and like
at the top of
also just
buildings.
and also just like, hey, you should check out these guys, or like sometimes I'll ask them a question and like, hey, how do I go about this? Because I know sometimes like my perspective is pretty like I kind of know my flaws, so like I try my best to like, oh, okay, like I'm gonna ask like this person this and see how like that goes, and if it doesn't work out, then I'll just, you know what I mean, like then I won't do what I was originally planning to do,
Yeah.
you know.
So how did y'all actually get into production? Because I mean, y'all didn't know each other until y'all started finding each other on the internet. So how did you actually get into production?
I don't know. I just started making beats, and they were really bad, and then they started getting better, and that was probably like 3-4 years ago. I had an MPC, and I just had it sitting there, and I also had a lot of instruments, and I just had them sitting there, and I had a really bad problem with making anything. But that's because like music isn't seen as a career, so it's like, oh, like you can't do it. And I remember this one time I was dating this chick, and she was like, you never do anything with your life, like what are you gonna do? And I'm like, oh, you got a good point, like I don't do shit. So like one day I was like, all right, well, I do like doing this, and like let's see how I go about it, you know. So I started making music, and then you get I was getting my first like, hey, this is pretty good, but that's just like from friends and family. But then I was like, no, like I definitely want to get better at this. And so I guess over time I just got better at it. I don't know, like over like editing, or like making like how to make the music sound better, to like communicating with other artists, to throwing shows, to like, hey, how do I look at this long term, selling stuff, like how to put that money. I think it's a bunch of stuff, like I don't think it's just like making beats. I mean, you could do that.
There's a whole like background that goes into it. There's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff behind the scenes behind actually just making the music that you have to get into.
I mean, you can do that too. I
Yeah.
mean, all day. But like, I think some people like are very like they're well taken care of. Sometimes you have like a record label or something that's like already like, oh, I got you. Maybe because they're friends, or like
Yeah.
they're genuinely like, I think you're amazing and I want to back you. And I don't know how that goes, because I've always been like, oh, I kind of want to do it by myself, because I don't really like telling. Because like, I feel like sometimes people tell me like, oh, like they'll talk to me in a way that I feel like is not genuine, or like they have alternative motives, which is cool with me as long as like you're honest about them.
Yeah.
So that's why I like doing things myself. I'm like, well, just tell me up front.
Just
Like-
tell me what you want.
Yeah.
what you really, really want.
How
Tell me
about
what
you?
want.
How did you get into actually producing and stuff?
Well, that's a funny story. I made really, really, really shitty EDM music in the 7th grade
Oh wow.
and 8th grade, but 8th grade was hardstyle, and I do not look back fondly on that. And then in the ninth grade, I became a rapper, and up until
Yo, he has a great music video.
oh yeah, man, I was
I'm gonna have to. Dig
I
those
was
up.
it hurts to say, it pains to say this, but in the ninth grade up until like the end of 10th grade, I was a juggalo rapper.
Hey, I'm gonna have to dig those up.
someone's gonna expose me for the. I mean, you'll probably find them on the internet somewhere. Anyway, and then I started like rapping a little bit, about like stuff that wasn't juggalo shit.
Yeah.
And up until like I want to say my first year in college, and and then after that, like around January of 2017, like when like it just turned January, I was like, because over that time I was producing also, but it wasn't like my main thing, and I wasn't that good at it. And then at like January, I was like, damn, I want to produce some more. And then I started producing more and more. I was like, damn, I don't want to rap anymore. And now I look back and I'm like, who let me rap? Who let me rap before 2017? Who allowed me to do that? It was like so terrible. And
did
like,
you actually put music out, or
oh
was
yeah,
it just
man,
like
I was
written stuff?
Everything. It was all out. I played a couple of shows.
Oh man,
all kinds of open mics, and like, who let me do this? And then I started producing more. I was like, damn, I like this way, way, way better. And I stopped rapping, and now I'm producing full time. Every now and then I'll rap on a track. Someone's like, hey, you wanna do a song together? And I'm like, okay,
sure, why not? So, how did y'all actually get into lo-fi music? I mean, because y'all could have went the traditional way of going about like trying to produce and trying to actually shop them out to actual rappers and stuff. How did y'all go and get into lo-fi?
It's just cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like it.
I mean, growing up with Dilla and especially like, I mean, I'm gonna say the same type of shit everyone says. Fucking Samurai Champloo. Those New Javes beats, like,
Oh, it's a good point. Yeah.
way
who
influenced me early here.
Yeah, so who actually like got y'all into it? Like, who were y'all listening to at the time?
That's a good question, man. Oh, Flying Lotus is definitely.
Oh, yeah,
someone
Flying
I was
Lotus.
Like, ooh, like I remember watching Adult Swim and being like, what? Like who
Oh,
even
yeah,
does
dude.
that? Who even does those little shorts?
Those
Dude,
little in
Flying
between.
Lotus.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
They need to bring that back.
They do.
Mine was probably at that time whenever I was like listening to it, and I'm like, because the lo-fi hip hop radio streams became a thing, in 2016, a little bit, start of 2016 probably, and I was listening to them. I'm like, damn, I love this. This is cool. And I think the people who really got me, I mean, the specific artist, probably the typical Madlib, but in the lo-fi community itself, probably I think Evie was a big influence.
Oh yeah, Evie is dope.
And
yeah,
probably 90s Flav and
Idealism.
Idealism.
That's a good one too. 90s
Idealism
Flav.
is good as shit.
So, whenever y'all are actually going to start, like, you're saying, okay, I'm going to sit here and make a song. How does that actually start? How do y'all start with, like, the melody to it? Or do y'all start with the drums? What do you start with?
It depends on the process, because if it's I almost never start with the drums, just because if it's sampled, I get the sample done first, chop it up, do whatever needs to be done with that. And if it's like original composition, I usually make the instruments first, just because the drums, I feel, for me at least, on a lot of stuff, is just not just to fill in the space, because obviously the drums are a big part of it, but they're like the backbone of it, you know. And it's like I don't know why, but I like putting the backbone in last.
Like putting the backbone in last.
Yeah.
So, how do y'all actually go about coming up with a sample? How do y'all find the sample that y'all are actually going to use? Is it just like going through lots and lots of stuff? Do y'all find something, or?
Yeah, you just I don't know.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I like this.
At the start, it was YouTube, hip hop YouTube samples. Search it up, find some playlists, and now it's just like if I hear something, because I stay tuned into the the jazz radio and everything, and I'm like, if I find it cool, then maybe it'll pop up. Like sometimes I hear shit in movies and whatnot, and I'm like, oh, this will be cool to sample, and I just do it.
I just dig. I don't know.
You just dig?
That's so.
There's a lot of
I don't know.
process. There's a lot of
Is
ways
it a
to
lot
do
of
it.
like YouTube digging, or are you actually like digging through like crates and stuff? Or?
Mostly YouTube.
Okay.
Sorry,
Yeah.
like I mean, unless you want to buy me some vinyl.
Yeah.
So you're
That's my
actually, like-
argument for that. Like, if
Yeah,
someone's like,
I-
"Oh, hey, like, why don't you dig?" I was like, "Well, I mean, you can buy me a 20 piece vinyl every time."
Yeah.
Because like you might have one, and like you know you might not even get anything out of it.
Mhm.
And like,
Yeah.
sorry, like I don't want to like.
Spend money and not even get.
I mean, I'll spend money on like something that I find like, oh, this is great, like this is worth it. And most of the time, I feel like record shops are good about that. About like, hey, we'll let you play it. But I'm sure like if you play like 5-10 records, like a record shop would be like, all right, like I don't know what you're doing.
Get
like,
out
you're-
here.
Like, wait, you're wasting my time.
So
No, you go.
you can actually, like, I mean, like on YouTube and stuff. Are you like going through like related videos? You're like listening to something, and then you're like, okay, well,
What does that matter? Sorry, like no, I'm trying to give someone a like you figure it out. Like
Yeah.
you dig however you want. You can I mean, I've seen processes where people like plug in their shit to a TV, a
Yeah.
VCR. Like you just figure it out. I'm
There's
not gonna
also
give you a
Soul Seed.
play-by-play like process on how to do it, cause like even if I did, like I don't think someone would do it. And like
Yeah.
even if you do it, you'll be like, oh, like I feel really comfortable doing it this way. And the way I see it is like I had to learn on my own. And I don't know. I think that's a really good way to come up with like your own process. Because otherwise, like you're just like creating like if like this is my plan and this is how you follow it, then everyone's gonna be doing this. Like figure it on your own.
Yeah.
Like do your own way, and you'll become like creative out of that. you
yeah,
know?
I can see
Yeah,
that.
and I started off modeling my shit after the lo-fi hip hop streams and like what we now call gay anime beats, and and like I wasn't getting a lot of traction for that, and then I started being more original and
Yeah.
doing stuff that I wasn't trying to fit into the general consensus of what was popular of lo-fi hip hop at that point in time, which was gay anime beats. It
Yeah.
still is, but and I'm not, I have my own complaints about it, but I also love, the lo-fi community too.
But I think he got that perspective from his old group, Lo-Fi Goons.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Which sounds like when he's told me more and more about it, it sounds like a group of like I don't know, like just really salty like
I mean,
members. Like you just come up with some, I don't know.
It started out really, really good. Like that's how I got a lot of tips and tricks. I got a lot of help with that. We shared all kinds of samples. We were like a big group of people, and people came in and we were warm and accepting. And over time, things just sort of went to shit. It died, and it's officially now gone. Sucks, but
So getting into some of the equipment, what do y'all actually use? Because I've seen y'all do y'all's live shows, and that y'all have some crazy shows. The shows are really visual, and y'all have a lot of different things going on. What are y'all actually using? Or is it just the NPCs or what?
It's this program called. I'm just kidding. Sorry, man. Yeah, I just use samplers in my computer, man.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. Like that's
he
what
uses
I use.
SP404.
Yeah, that. Sure. Yeah, I use an SP404 and I use an SP202 and I use a computer, and it varies, man. I don't know. I've had all kinds of instruments, and they switch around whenever I feel like it.
Yeah.
What do you use, Evan? Tell me.
I can't afford equipment, so I use my computer and a keyboard.
Okay.
And I use my little knobs on the keyboard to do my little things, my little automations and my little scratches and whatever else, because I can't afford.
Well, you use a MIDI
equipment yet.
controller.
Yeah, I use a MIDI controller.
But I think that's good. I mean, you can see the different dynamics of different stuff that people use, and it's not what you use, it's how you're using it, because y'all are both making good music.
Yeah.
And y'all are using it in y'all's own way, and y'all are coming up with your own things.
It's true.
So how did y'all come about doing the actual visual shows?
That's all him.
Oh, visual shows?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought like shows are boring, and then you see big shows and they do like their visuals. So I was like, oh, we deserve that too. And then there's people that do it, so you just look for them and you're like, hey, can you do this? And similar, like if you didn't have that background,
Yeah.
I don't know, like the show would be diminished by like a bunch, and you'd be like, no, this background kind of does it for me. It's the same concept.
Yeah, I can see it.
I don't know, man. Those blinds in the background, that's real.
I guess so,
that's
man.
Professional.
I
though.
guess so.
That's genius level.
Genius.
Shit.
So, how is it from producing something by yourself to actually doing it on a live stage, like in front of people? Is it a little bit different? Are you having to do it on the fly, or
Producing?
Yeah.
I don't produce in front of people.
well, I mean, whenever you're doing your songs, you're doing your
Oh, I'm just playing them. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm just playing them
it's
with
pretty
my
much just
SP.
playing them and doing.
Because you can treat the SP4 for like
Yeah.
a performance. I mean, similar to his MIDI controller. That's
Yeah.
why he was talking
he
about his
just has more
automations.
control over it than the. MIDI
No,
control.
that's not
Yeah,
true.
That is true.
No, you have a computer. A
Yeah.
computer with Ableton has like
I don't have
thousands of
Ableton
options.
though. I had Ableton. I just
Oh
didn't
yeah, you
use
have
it.
FL.
I have FL. You
Oh,
can't do anything.
I can't
on
speak
there.
on that. I don't
I
know about
know.
FL.
You can't I love FL, but you
limited.
cannot play with it live
have-
like at all.
you
It's
have-
awful.
Like 24 options, but like I only use a couple, like the ones that I like, and that's maybe 6 or 8. So like that's why I'm like, no, I'm kind of limited too, man. I think if you heard like me enough, you'd be like, oh, okay, like I know.
I
Like,
have heard you enough.
I know that like sometimes I'll like play and I'll try my best to break out of my patterns. I'll be like, oh, I
Yeah.
know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna press this. I'm like, all right, and then it gets to me sometimes because I'm like, all right, like what do I do here to separate myself from?
All right, I'm waiting for a repeating section here, real quick. Oh, he's gonna kick in with some bit crushing. I know that's gonna happen now. That's watched you enough.
So if somebody wants to find y'all's music, where can they find it at?
Kal.Kal.
Kal.Kal?
Sometimes it's with the period. Sometimes it's with the
Oh, on
DOT.
SoundCloud, huh?
On SoundCloud, it's just Kal.Kal with the period. On my other social medias, it's Kal, DOT, Kal, and that's pretty much it.
What about you? Where can they find your stuff at?
SoundCloud, DRGuava. I'm
Ooh.
currently changing everything.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're trying to
So,
switch everything to the
And
Yeah,
new name.
so-
Spotify and Apple Music. Forgot to mention that.
Okay.
With Kal.Kal with the period.
With a
Okay,
period.
Continue. Yeah.
So SoundCloud, like without the period, right?
No, SoundCloud. Everything where the music itself is with the period, but like social media is with the DOT, because Cal with the period dot whatever is taken.
Well, like you can find me on Facebook, on DRGuava, and also SoundCloud. But if the Facebook would definitely help because, like, I usually post everything that I do or like what I'm up to. Also, Instagram is really good too. Instagram's really good for like actually like communicate more on Instagram than on
Yeah.
anything else, which is weird because it's not designed for that. It's
Yeah.
designed for like just share pictures and videos, but
I think it's just because there's more followers on the Instagram. It's easier to interact with things the more
Mhm.
followers you have.
So you can follow it at Instagram at CouchLoaf Records. And that's where you're gonna get all your updates and stuff for the
Yes.
shows and stuff.
mm-hmm.
Well, that's good. I'm glad y'all came through.
Mm-hmm.
We had fun.
Talk about the anniversary show. real
Yeah.
quick?
Tell me about the show.
Yeah, that's 2-3 weeks from now. August 18th. That's I'm not gonna count the days right now. We're gonna have about 6 or 7 producers, and we have some new people that are gonna play there that I've heard them before, and they're fucking amazing. So like,
It's me, but with a wig on.
and then we're gonna have 2. It's gonna be me and Ole Segun. He's a great producer, but like he's been wanting to do visual arts with the liquid plates, and we're gonna switch back and forth between visual sets for each artist to kind
Okay.
of keep it fresh.
Yeah.
And it's $5. Alternative transportation or carpool's free, and I really want to push that like in the future.
Yeah, that's a
Uh,
good thing.
And all the money that we do make is gonna go to this nonprofit called Menstrual Flux. And what that nonprofit does is will place tampons and pads like in like certain bars or coffee shops. She currently has 3 places that she has that at. So like if you go to a woman's restroom, like they'll have like tampons and pads like ready.
Yeah.
And like most of the reason for that is because apparently sometimes like when women are on the period they want to freshen up. Because I mean imagine if you had to like
Yeah.
wear some. Sorry, it's not that gross, yo. Like,
Yeah.
it's
not.
No, it's not.
not. Like imagine like you had something and you're like, all right, I want to fucking switch this out. This is mad gross. It's been like 5 hours. Like, you know,
I gotta
like the
freshen up a little
convenience-
bit.
Yeah, the convenience of that and it being like more common also
Yeah.
helps too.
So how did you actually come up with the free for carpool? It's just something that you wanted to do, or?
Oh, what? Right. Because I realized we're not gonna make a lot of money, man. Cause like I'm just really bad. Like, well, that's not true. I have my ideas, but for the time being, I think it's just like community building, and I think it's cool to like, like I can imagine myself at 18, like with a bike, and like, oh, I want to go to this show. It's $5, but if I ride my bike, tight. Like, and plus, like, you're not riding one car for like one person. Like, it encourages another person to communicate with like 2-3 other people in the future to be like, hey, come to the show with me. Although like if you do like go to the front of the show and like you meet up with 3 people, like we'll have a door person there and be like, no, like don't do that. Don't cheap out. Like just because the money's not even going to us, It's
going to something that actually has a cause behind it.
And I'll document it too, so that way people feel more confident about like, oh, okay, my money's going to a good place. And that's kind of like another record label's really good about that too. Condina Records, which is in LA. They're really good about that. There's this dude named Dustin, and he goes by Hash. And he's a great producer, and he does like this burrito nonprofit where he'll roll up a bunch of burritos for homeless people, which is really cool. So like I kind of take after that. I'm like, oh, these guys are just having fun, a good time. They're popular, but like they're not trying to scam people out of money either.
Yeah, they're doing stuff for good causes, and I think that's good.
And it works out, man, because it makes it less stressful, and it makes it like less like, ooh, like I gotta do this, I gotta do that. When it's like, no, like your skills matter first. If you suck, like why are you even thinking about money? Like, sorry, like that's for everyone. Like, like, and if you don't agree, then sorry. Like, I don't know.
Where is the show at?
Yeah.
Where
can they come
it's
watch?
Called at Coffee, which is across the street from Warehouse Live.
Okay.
Is it gonna be live streamed?
No.
That's you gotta be there. You gotta be there.
You should be there. I mean,
it's experience.
It's a visual set. Yeah, and that too, man. Like you should be there. I mean,
it gives you
I
have
don't mind
more
live streaming.
You're like, more likely to bring some friends. Bring some friends out.
Live streaming is pretty cool.
Get a discount.
I like live streaming too.
Yeah, but there's something about actually being there.
Yeah, usually something about being there for the experience that really helps. Yeah.
I don't know why you'd have shows at venues when you can just live stream,
Yeah. That's true, man.
It's not like you have to be there.
You can just sit at home and watch it and get
but I'm not knocking live streaming because it sounds like we're knocking live streaming. Live streaming is really cool.
Oh yeah, no, live streaming
because it's helped me catch up with like other shows, and I've genuinely just like place my phone and have the live stream running and I'll listen to the music.
Yeah.
I remember like Condina Records actually did a live stream and I listened to my friend Hash play music.
Okay.
So yeah, it works out.
It works out for if you're like out of state or something. That helps too.
Yeah. I mean, dude, there's Stolen Drums and he's from Atlanta and he built his entire career out of live streaming, which is really cool. I mean, that's a whole other topic I'm not gonna like delve into because 1, I'm not Stolen Drums, and 2, I don't know. Yeah. Like I don't, there's like topics on it. Actually, another dude just created like a podcast about that and how he like ended up getting like 10, like 15K followers, like just out of live streaming at his house. I mean, although he's a great producer.
Yeah.
He's an amazing producer. And he now does Controllerize, which is like a crazy like I think a lot of things evolve from lo-fi because I don't want to call it lo-fi anymore. Like I think like there's like, I mean, lo-fi is definitely a genre, but like I think I definitely started with lo-fi and then evolved to like, oh, I like hip hop in general. Like what kind of styles can we come up with?
Yeah.
I mean, same for him. He has so many genres under his belt, and like you wouldn't,
it's boring.
You wouldn't, I mean, yeah.
Spice it up.
Yeah, you got to spice it up, I mean, and I think that challenges you as a producer too.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does. Whenever you don't just solely stick to like one genre, you can dabble into a lot of things, but at the end of it, you're doing hip hop.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I am for sure, and that's for me. I cannot speak for anyone else because that's not for. I'm not trying to get other people to like support hip hop out of like what's it called, guilt. Like, oh, you need to support hip hop. Like, no, that's totally up to the person because that brings them joy, not like whatever. Anyway.
I just make national anthem remixes. That's the only thing I do.
There's a bunch of national anthem remixes.
Yeah, each one in a different genre. Oh, say can you see?
So you can keep updated for the show on CouchLoaf Records Instagram. Follow them. Listen to the music. It's really good. Listen on Spotify. Listen on SoundCloud. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Follow me on Instagram @SlumpSessions. Stay slum.